Felt like something was missing tonight. Play the thing. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Steve, and I'm going to be reviewing the NXT episode for the 11th of May 2021. A bit of a funny one. Like, it just felt like something was missing. Like, after last week when you had so much packed in, couldn't tell you what it was. Just, I don't know. I don't know if it was a person that was missing, but let's get into it. I like this thing that WWE are doing now, that the show isn't starting with a 10-15 minute promo, and every show just seems to be starting with a match straight off the bat. It's really good to see. The first match of the night tonight, Austin Theory versus Karl Cross. Just before the match starts, it cuts to Austin and Johnny on the outside of the ring, and their jaw dropped after Karrion's entrance, which, let's be honest, is impressive in itself. And yeah, it just shows what sort of appeal Karl Cross has, and how they made these two, just by doing this alone, is making him look like he's the dominant person. Austin is initially hesitant to get in the ring because he knows that Karrion is a big guy. This is a very one-sided match. I mean, Austin hits a big drop kick to start with, which Karrion just no-sells. Karrion's then dominant for the majority of the match. Johnny causes a distraction, which causes a bit of a turn in the match. It's not much of a turn because, say, Karrion just dominates. It's during this match that it's announced Johnny will be taking on Bronson Reed next week for the NXT North American Championship. We then get to the end of the match to say this was fairly short. Karrion forearms Austin in the back of the head, and then he just basically does like a ground and pound, but Austin is dead, and it just reminds me of that Simpsons meme.
Stop! He's already dead.
Yeah, just this was very short, and I would have expected a little bit longer, or maybe Austin to put up more of a fight. Like I was saying last week, Austin can sell really well, and I think this was the whole idea, is it was meant to make Karrion look really impressive. I think the lack in match time has sort of killed this one. Just after the match, Karrion's in ring. Finn Balor pops up over his shoulder, basically states that he wants his rematch. Karrion wants this rematch too. So at some point in the future, we'll get that again for the NXT Championship. But yeah, like I said, would have just liked a bit of a longer match with that one. I just felt it was too short, and maybe I get that Karrion is meant to be dominant, but I just think it would have been nicer for Austin to get a bit more offense in, especially last week, because he was putting off some great stuff last week. We then come back from a commercial break, and we get two short videos, one for Kushida and Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, who arrive at the CWC earlier on in the day. We then get a really passionate promo from Leon Ruff. It's basically a network exclusive that was shown earlier in the day. Leon Ruff goes into William Regal's office and basically stating that he wants a match, and William Regal's denying him. Ruff says he's medically cleared and he wants a match and stuff like that. Regal just denies him. I almost got the impression of like one of the Creed films, like Ruff coming off as this sort of underdog and like he states like what's he got to do. And yeah, I was actually quite impressed by it. I was like, this is really a really passionately given promo by this, and hopefully it leads to bigger and better things in the future for him. On to our second match of the night, Breezango versus MSK. Just in case you didn't know, Tyler does some showboating at the start to sort of tell you which one of them is going to be working heel tonight. This match then gets weird because you have Wes and Tyler in the middle of the ring, and they super kick each other's feet. So they both go for the same move and connect their feet, and they both sell it like it's a big thing. And then I was like, it's a random spot. I've never actually seen it before. They both tag out, and then again, this match takes another turn for the weirdness. And we've got a short spot of like the high-low off the ropes. And Breezango managed to take the Fandango, comes off the rope, I think manages to take out Breeze. Carter then goes for another high low, but then this time the ref gets involved as well. And it was so strange yet so entertaining. It was just a weird one. Referee Daryl Sharma Fandango just comes off the ropes, and both the ref and Carter jump over Fandango. He then comes back and they both drop low, and the ref just gets psyched out. It was hilarious. Like Carter's just taken back, and he's like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Am I watching NXT or some sort of weird indie show here?" But yeah, then the referee's all doing like Vince McMahon's like strut back and forth like he was pumped for it. And it was really, really weird, but yet oddly entertaining at the same time. We come back from the commercial break. Fandango manages to hit some sort of counter to Wes, and he takes a rough bump on the back of his neck into the turnbuckle. I think it was a slight botch here, but it just looked rough to land him. MSK then hit their assisted moonsault for a 2, which is broken up. Tyler Breeze then manages to hit super kicks on both of them. Karl then manages to hit a running knee to Fandango, who's on the top rope. He falls to the outside. Karl then hits a second rope moonsault from the turnbuckle to the outside on both Breeze and Fandango. Breeze is trying to get Wes in the unprettier. Carter manages to super kick him in the midriff. They double team him for that net breaker finisher combo that they have, and they pick up the windfall. Straight after, they look into the camera and they say to Legado del Fantasma that they're ready and waiting for their challenge. So again, at some point we'll be getting the NXT Tag Team Champion match between the two of them. Again, just apart from say the weird spot the ref, it was an all right match. It was just just that ref moment just really sort of weirded me out for a slight minute there. But again, I probably would have just liked a bit longer. We then cut to Johnny, who's found a cameraman, and he storms into William Regal's office to complain about the fact he's still having this match for the NXT North American Championship next week. Regal basically says this match is going to happen, and then Johnny starts reaching for the knuckle dusters, and William's like, "Don't you dare." So out of anger, he grabs William Regal's pencil and snaps it in half. Man, Johnny is great, man. I love his character work. We then come back from the commercial break. We get a short video showing Mercedes Martinez working out backstage. It's then announced for June 13th, NXT TakeOver in your house. This is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see this, especially if they bring back the likes of Johnny using the ring doorbell in his match last year. This is going to be great. So I can't wait to see this one. Then cut to the commentary team, and for some reason, Everrise are standing behind them, trying to promote their Saturday morning show. Just these small cameos from Everrise would actually not be nice to see them get some in-ring action at some point. Pete Dunne then comes out to the ring and basically states that Karrion Kross is ducking him and he's avoiding him because Kross has accepted Finn Balor's challenge for the NXT Championship. Dunne then issues an open challenge. He's standing in the ring waiting, and he's done by none other than Leon Ruff, who was obviously denied a match earlier from William Regal. And then we go into the match. It's Pete Dunne with Oney Lorcan versus Leon Ruff. Dunne basically dominates for a majority of this match. Starts off with a lot of joint manipulation on the mat. I mean, at one point, he's just got Ruff down on the mat and he's just pounding his head. Every time Ruff tries to sort of turn this match around, Dunne's just got a counter for it and just knocks it straight on the head. I mean, there's one point where Dunne hits a big chop and Ruff just snaps and gives him like 2 or 3 of his own chops, but Dunne just cuts that straight out. The end of the match is unique. I mean, Dunne gets Ruff in as sort of a head scissors and he's just elbowing him in the skull, and so the ref just has to stop it because, just again, Simpsons meme. Just like he looks like he's just dead on the mat. Seeing 2 ref stoppages in a night, I don't think it's particularly good. You know, there's other ways to end matches. It's just a weird one to end it. We then get a Legado del Fantasma promo. It's just basically Wild and Mendoza hyping up Escobar for his match later on the night with Kushida. We then get a short package of Raquel Gonzalez working out backstage as their match is up next. We come back from the commercial break. We get a video package of Frankie Monet. This time she's not interrupting anyone. It's actually just announced that in 2 weeks' time she will be having her first match, and it's directly after this that we get the announcement for the rematch between Karrion Kross and Finn Balor. That's also going down in 2 weeks' time. We then get your NXT Women's Championship match, Mercedes Martinez versus Raquel Gonzalez. Mercedes starts dominating early. It kind of annoyed me. They'd just come back from a commercial break and then they cut straight into a commercial break again as soon as this match starts. I mean, yeah, they say it was a picture-in-picture, but again, UK fans, we don't get picture-in-picture. We have to suffer with an actual commercial break. Come back from the commercial break with Raquel's this point on top. Just a lot of back and forth really with this match. It's nothing much. Martinez then hits a twisting cutter while Raquel is being draped from the top rope. That looked pretty good. She also then hits a spear on the ring apron to Raquel. Raquel then manages to turn a powerbomb into a top rope drape. More back and forth. Martinez manages to reverse that single arm powerbomb that Raquel does into a sort of V-trigger. She then hits a Fisherman Buster for a 2. She's then delivering knee strikes to Raquel before she reverses it with a big boot. Raquel then hits that single arm powerbomb for the win. Slightly underwhelming this for an NXT Women's Championship match. Like, I was expecting a bit more, if I'm honest. Yeah, just to say, slightly underwhelmed. My initial thought before I saw a network exclusive was, who's next for Raquel after this? Because, again, I don't think WWE have worked out the dynamic with her. Well, I say at this point, I thought that they hadn't worked out the dynamic, whether she was whether she was a heel or a face. But there's a network exclusive after. You have Martinez in the medical room. She's been checked over. Raquel comes over and just says to her respect, and she walks away. But then the camera pans round and Dakota's sort of standing 6 to 7 foot behind her. She sort of throws a tantrum and storms off out of the trainer's room, slamming the door as she goes. Whether this is finally going to lead to this breakup between Raquel and Dakota, I don't know. But like I said, WWE really need to work out if Raquel is a heel or a face here, because I can never tell at the minute. We then get a short video package before the commercial break. Isaiah Swerve Scott has turned up to the CWC with his entourage. They managed to knock over a cameraman in the process. Coming back from that, Mackenzie stumbles across Johnny and Austin. They're being thrown out of a locker room by a bunch of referees and officials. It turns out they jumped Bronson Reed in the locker room. Swerve then enters the arena. He is with his entourage. They're now known as the faction Hit Row. This was a fairly good promo, to be fair. I mean, you kind of worked out what everyone was. You've got Swerve's sort of the leader of the four of them. Top Dollar is sort of the power, like the muscle behind the faction. Ashante Theodonis is kind of like the mouthpiece, like he's the one that's gonna just sort of run his mouth or be the guy that people have got to beat to get to Swerve. And then you've got B-Fab, who says that she apparently is the mastermind behind it all. She says she's the mastermind, but it's a bit of a sort of conflicting one, because obviously if Swerve's the leader, but you're the mastermind, who's running the show kind of thing. There is an awkward part to this, because sort of as Top Dollar gets on the mic, he starts cutting raps like Thugonomic John Cena. Towards the end, it gets kind of painful, because making these bad raps for the sake of bad raps. Hopefully it gets better, but yeah, I think this is a great way for Swerve to now sort of start moving up the card. I mean, this faction could possibly be the way that he moves himself up into the main event scene. Yeah, it'd be good to see where it goes. We then got our Cameron Grimes package for the night. He is at an auction for a house, and it's going up in the millions. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. Cameron Grimes finally goes for 8 million, and all of a sudden, obviously out of nowhere, Ted DiBiase outbids him $20 million that he's just paid for this house. It'd be nice to have a direction with this, because I'd like to know where this is going. Whether we're going to possibly see Ted DiBiase's son come back to NXT, because obviously we all know Ted DiBiase's he's retired, really. So yeah, unless Ted DiBiase Jr. is going to make a comeback, which I very much doubt, but I just want to know what the payoff's going to be for this sort of rivalry, because we're not going to get anything in ring, but we'll see where it goes. We then come back from the next commercial break. We get a Zoe Stark, Toni Storm package. Their rematch has been announced for next week. Hopefully Toni Storm can pick up a win this time, because she's taking too many losses at the minute. This time it's now only Lorcan's time to have a match. He's going up against Kyle O'Reilly. There was a nice little picture-in-picture as Kyle was coming down to the ring that basically shows how this match was set up for the night. I really appreciate this from WWE, because there's too many times on, say, especially Raw, that you just get these matches thrown together and there's kind of no reason why. So yeah, so this was just nice to see. It's a lot of mat-based wrestling just to start off with. Karl ends up spilling to the outside. He basically confronts Pete Dunne before they go into a commercial break. We come back from that, Only's pretty much dominating. He delivers some big chops to Kyle O'Reilly's chest, like turns his chest into burger meat. It was, they sounded and looked rough. Karl manages to hit a big knee to the midsection, which turns this match around. He then manages to hit a brain buster and then hits that big knee off the top for the win. Pete Dunne then jumps him afterwards, and then we get the returning Bobby Fish. He's back to help his former teammate. They then have this sort of confrontation in ring where Karl says to him, look, I'm doing my own thing now, and Bobby's like, no, it's cool, I've got a score to settle, pointing at Pete Dunne. This was actually really good. I say no microphones, it was just sort of like a natural audio that you get, and yeah, it was a really good package towards the end of it. But good to see Bobby Fish back as well. We then get this strange sort of superhero Batman package for the Way. Yeah, just really, really strange. I didn't see a point to it, but they'd say it was just there, apparently. We then get a Bronson Reed promo. He's spoken to William Regal, and he has asked for a stipulation for his match next week with Johnny. It's going to be a steel cage match for that NXT North American Championship, so I expect that to be fun. I mean, at some point between now and then, we're probably going to get Johnny complaining about it being a steel cage match. It'll probably be somewhere in the promos during next week's show, because I imagine that will be the main event for the night. We then get on to the main event, Santos Escobar versus Kushida in a 2 out of 3 falls match for that NXT Cruiserweight Championship. This one kind of under-delivered for me. I was expecting more for a 2 out of 3 falls match, especially the ending, but let's get into it. I mean, shortly after the match has started, Wild and Mendoza tried jumping Kushida, But out of nowhere, MSK just jump over the barricades and take out those two. Then the four of them are ejected from ringside. We then get our first of 2 commercial breaks during the main event. This really irritates me. Like, when I watch a main event, I expect it to be commercial free. It makes it more watchable. But yeah, we come back from the initial one. Escobar's on top after using sort of a single arm throw to put Kushida into a barricade on the outside. A little bit on from that, Escobar drops Kushida onto the top turnbuckle from like a Samoan drop position. We then get a pretty good spot. Escobar manages to get Kushida into a Boston Crab on the steel steps outside, but you have Kushida's neck going across the ring post. Really unique way to do it, and so I enjoyed this. We then get a surfboard stretch from Escobar onto Kushida, and man, I love this move. I just think it looks like it shouldn't be possible to do, but man, yeah, it's just an impressive move in my opinion. This then leads to our first pinfall as Escobar hits a phantom driver and picks up the first one. That's 1-0 at this point. Directly after, though, Kushida just manages to get him into the hoverboard lock and pulls it back for 1-1. Again, this is very underwhelming for me at this point. This is probably 7 or 8 minutes in, and you've already tied the scores up at 1-1. And it's like, I've seen these 2 out of 3 full matches go distance. I'm like, I know I'm trying to compare this to Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, but yeah, this was really underwhelming for what they normally do with these matches. We then get the second commercial break, which is picture-in-picture for the States, but not for us again. Just really irritates me. We come back and it's really 50-50 from this point going on. I mean, Kushida's now starting to work over Escobar's left arm. He hits a big knee off the top rope onto it. There's a great spot where the pair of them are just like they're doing unique pin reversals. Say it's near fall after near fall, with a pin reversal into pin reversal. Escobar then tries to hit the phantom driver off the top rope, which Kushida reverses into the hoverboard lock from the top rope. This is a good spot because obviously where he has it locked in, and then you've got Escobar struggling to reach the bottom rope for the rope break. It was a really good spot. And then we get the end of the match, which is kind of underwhelming, and we get Kushida hitting that unique suplex pin that he gets where he locks the arm behind the body as he's done it. Yeah, really underwhelming finish to the show for me. I mean, I think that match could have been more than what it was, but again, I don't know what this means going forward now, because I would like to have seen Escobar move on to the main event and be involved in that NXT Championship scene, but I just got a feeling this is probably going to go to a third one, maybe in your house when it comes up in June. But yeah, like I said at the start, for me, this was weird. That it felt like there was missing something. I mean, there was no Diamond Mine promo, no Dexter Lumis, no Indy or Candice, no Imperium, no Adam Cole, no Shotzi or Ember, no Grizzled Young Veterans, no LA Knight, no Sarai, no Thatcher or Ciampa. Tien Shaw just seems to have been dropped completely. They last had a promo 2 weeks ago, and then you obviously had Casey and Caden last week that just sort of blew it off like it was nothing. It's strange. I mean, you could have had Xia Li be Raquel's next challenger to give her a bit more of a sort of credible run before they did this whole Dakota Kai split. Yeah, that just seems to have been washed under the carpet. Yeah, like I say, it's just a very strange one. I mean, like all them names I've just mentioned there that weren't on the show. But I think, again, because of last week having so much packed into it, yeah, this just felt like it was missing something this week. Like I said, they can't get it perfect every week. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, drop us a like, leave a comment down below on what you thought on the show, subscribe to the channel. Got something different coming for you tomorrow. NXT Superstars 5 in particular, who I think shouldn't join the main roster because I think they will personally be ruined. But that's going to be out tomorrow. But yeah, have a good day, and I'll catch you in the next one.